Please welcome AppSheet. Oh, I forgot. Our presentation mode, which is we're working it out. We keep changing it every month to work out the kinks. At the moment, it's 20 slides that auto-forward every 15 seconds like Ignite. Makes it fun, keeps the presenters kind of on their edge, and makes it more fun for everybody. So you tell me when you're ready, and we'll start, and it'll go. So, you ready?
Not ready yet. Hi, I'm Praveen. Not ready yet.
You know you only have 5 minutes. We're already ticking.
Yeah, I'm Praveen, CEO of AppSheet.
Oh, you need to hold the mic by your chin.
Yeah. AppSheet is a platform for anyone, a non-developer, to build a mobile app instantly and automatically just from a spreadsheet. But we'll talk more about it later, because Brett really wanted me to talk about, don't pitch a product, talk about your journey and experiences and so on. So this is really
We believe in sharing versus pitching. There are plenty of places to pitch. This is where you share.
Right.
So you can
this is my
support
journey.
the cool things going on.
It's my journey through multiple startups, entitled "You Can't Teach an Old Dog New Tricks." That was 15 seconds, I think.
3, 2, 1. There you go.
Oh, that's kind of cheesy. Okay, I got to say it again. AppSheet's a platform for anyone to build a mobile app automatically, easily from a spreadsheet. But I'm not going to talk about AppSheet right at the start. I'm going to tell you about my journey. It's about a journey through different startups. This is my first startup, me, and it lasted about 17 years. And you know, that's not a prison, actually. That was our school. It was a good, it was a really nice place, and it wasn't a particularly lean startup. That's chubby me over there. And you know, after about 17 years, I got to college, and I chose to go to computer science. I'd never seen a computer, and so scratching my head, why did I sign up for computer science? A big, massive machine. I went to Wisconsin, learned about database systems in the midst of brats and beer. Was teaching at Cornell, computer science. Database systems, loved data and what people could do with it, and then I ran into sort of a brick wall, mud wall. What do I do next? And so this was sort of the first of many pivots. So then sort of changed direction, said, well, why don't we make a company out of this research that I was doing? And it was called, even back then, it was tough to get a name, so it was called Data Brewers, that Microsoft got interested in, bought, and so we went to work on Microsoft, and actually met both of the people that I worked with in that period of time, but then ran into a brick wall again. So what was the brick wall, or reorg? So went off to work on something different. Could end users writing no code be able to program data in Windows? Very ambitious. Guess what? Ran into a brick wall. Okay, yet another pivot. Why don't we work with people who are database administrators in SQL Server and support all the features that they do? But in the process, let's allow them to actually manage all of these machines writing no code. Let's deal with data. Brick wall. All right, let's go to something different. Work on Bing and search advertising. And coming out of that, can end users actually make sense of big data? Notice this, data, end user, mobile, sprinkled in there. Brick wall. Leave Microsoft. Now it starts to speed up. Can end users track data on the web? Can they build mobile apps for different business verticals? 3, 4, 5 of those brick walls. And finally, we hit on, this 15-second thing is weird. We hit on what we're doing right now, which is mobile apps for anybody. Do it yourself. There's 1 billion people in the world who could build mobile apps, we claim. And let's give them the power to do this. That's what AppSheet's about. Little history of do-it-yourself apps. The first do-it-yourself apps were, recorded do-it-yourself apps were about in the 6th century BC. The apps back then were buildings. And there's instructions for people to build their own buildings, recorded in southern Italy by the Greeks. In the 20th century, people were still building buildings. Those were the apps of the 20th century. And do-it-yourself really took off as a movement around building things in the house. But then, maybe around 30, 40 years ago, it started to move to technology. And you ask yourself, have you seen a steno pool lately? Or do you DIY your own letters? Right? Let's move forward. Let's move forward to the early 90s. The canonical developer. Right? Who needs 1 billion lines of code? Right? Or can you do it yourself to build whatever you got to build? So that was sort of the question we asked. And the strange thing is today, with this tremendous technology power in everybody's hands, one thing has not changed. Programming sucks. I've spent most of my entire 20, 25 years writing programs. It's an insanely difficult thing to do, and it's getting worse with mobile devices and all the complexities. And so sort of we looked at this and said, well, can we abstract most of this stuff away? So there's a bunch of people doing that. They're saying, hey, take all those developers. How many developers in the crowd here? Right, see, I don't care about you. The rest of you I care about. Billions, all right? You can make apps. You can make apps today in 5 minutes. That's what AppSheet's about. So we launched a product about 10 days ago. It's just sort of a scary thing. You launch a product and, it could just be a tree falling in a forest, which typically it is. And then now you just sort of wait and see. And the strange thing is, having put that out there, then you suddenly you stop being a technical guy. You become this guy. Like, you want an app? Want an app? To everybody. It doesn't matter if they're your friends or whatever. So that's kind of phase we're in. But the interesting thing is, it's an exciting phase. We've had we get to make, you get to make jokes like this one once in a while, just to sort of as a filler for 15 seconds. But, okay. But what do I take away from all of this? So trying to tie this back to the journey. I find that, in this case, there isn't an end to this rodent site. There's actually some good pickup. We're getting new users every day, and it's pretty exciting. What I found, I was forced to do this introspection, because I'd have just pitched AppSheet all day long. Forced to do this introspection, I just worked on 3 things.
I think your 5 minutes is up. What we used to do before we had the auto forward is when it got to the end, we go boop, 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 boop.
Not bad.
And I just realized a Q&A slide would be perfect right there. So this is our first month here. We just started combining decks at our last Seattle Tech meetup, so we're working out the kinks. So you have 3 minutes of Q&A, so please thank him and ask him some insightful, cool questions now.
Yes, sir. There's many ideas floating. We actually have a couple of brilliant marketing guys. One guy sitting back there who, idea a minute. Ideally, we do not want this to need a class. We want this to be something, you shouldn't need a class to build a WordPress page, and you don't need a class to build an app on AppSheet. We're headed there. Other questions? Yes? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the question, which is, are we building into AppSheet natural language processing that will help end users build stuff? I never say no to a question like that. The answer is yes, the question is when. It hasn't arisen yet as a need. But we build whatever it takes for somebody to build an app. We're shameless that way. Yes?
Great pitch, awesome, and very entertaining.
Thank you.
The question for you is, how do you know when it's time to pivot?
I give you my honest answer. You know many months before you pivot. At least that's what I found, is it's just your own stubbornness that keeps you in stuff for a while. But we've been doing startups, two of us, for 2.5 years. This has been the 5th pivot. But this is the first time that we are actually hoping to slow the pace of users because there's too much stuff for us to handle. And that's when you know you're onto something, versus most of the time you're pushing a rope, and you're pushing a rope because you're stubborn.
Any more
See,
questions?
I should have finished that extra slide.
Okay. Please thank
Thank you, Brad.
AppSheet.
Praveen.